So you either get one day you deposit this money, or after that one day.
Kristen and Rachel, I'm gonna put you on the CE credit list, so you guys will get CE credit for this. Hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and start the forecast. If y'all come on in.
Brian, you said we are or we're not?
You are.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I'm gonna join on my computer, so I'm just gonna switch it over.
That's whatever you need to do, but I'm recording it, so you'll be able to watch it later, but since you're here, I'll make sure that you get the CE credit.
Right.
Okay, I'll be right back on my computer. 1 second.
Yeah.
Please. I've got the license.
The gym. Who's gonna know what you know they want to use, I guess, just their, I don't know. As long as it's
Yeah. I'll just put their names in the later.
Well, you guys
All right.
Texas.
I get that. Yeah. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, and he said that. I mean, that's it. Loves it.
Son of a gun. This happened last time I used these pens.
They're just coming back to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just think I was like 200.
Right over. Yeah, that's nice. You can see that. I really think I could. Just have y'all, I'll leave all the stuff on the house.
Oh, we make a great team.
Anyway, yeah, I became a real big, and yeah, it was like.
Yeah, wait, so fun. From my closing.
Okay, guys, it is, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me introduce, Dr. Bennett, and sir, the floor is yours. Bradicum, Dave Bradicum brought us, is bringing us Dr. Bennett and the forecast, so the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I'm Joel Madiosik. We've got Lauren here today too. I'm so excited she's in our office. We know that strong partnerships are important to you guys. Absolutely required for smooth closings. We're just really here to make you guys look like rock stars at the closing table and actually, you know, have a smooth transition into it. Lauren actually has a lot of lending experience as well. So I think that's important too when a lot of questions arise, and you can just look to her and she can make you look great. Yeah. So I won't be too long because I know you guys have been here for a while, but I did bring a few sweets for you guys that you can take home. We only have a few more CE classes until the end of the year. We do have a couple of 1 hour contract classes. You just need 1 hour to go with your 3. That's coming up on Friday. And then we have an ethics class if you still need that on December 1st. We're not going to do our wrapping party this year, but we're going to do some customer appreciation things. And when I follow up with you guys, I'm going to send you a survey, and I'd love it if you fill it out. It's okay if you don't, obviously, but I just really want to cater to you guys and provide you the services that you're looking for, the classes, instructors, so on and so forth. So we just want to be a resource for you, and yeah, we'd love to have lunch or coffee sometime and get to know you better.
When I follow up with you, would you send that to me? And I'll make sure they get some stuff.
Thank you so much. Yes, and we're so excited that Blake is here. That's one of the things that we've really been trying to do. I know that a lot of the classes that are provided have some instructors, you know, throughout Fort Worth that are kind of like, so we're trying to find more dynamic speakers, and so happy that we have Blake. So you guys are going to enjoy this, and yeah, hopefully we can get him to teach a lot more classes for you guys.
Absolutely. Dynamics, in other words, what you guess, right?
You got it, right?
Or him or whatever, or he gets the job done, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank y'all so much. Appreciate it. All right, y'all ready for the situation outlook? I'm breathing. If you notice I'm breathing heavy, it's because I was up in Keller. I went to Keller and I told you, look, if I'm a little bit late, it'll be okay because I was listening to Federal Reserve this morning up in Keller. So I had some pointed questions that I knew I wanted answered for right here, right now. So I stuck around until I got those questions answered. Looking at the DFW outlook for 2026, where I think that prices for residential are going to go, and what I'm looking at for the entire economy here in DFW. Start out by geeking out on some numbers. Here is home sales. Home sales through September. That's what data I have. A full data from Texas A&M Real Estate Center. Through September for 2023, 64,196 homes sold in DFW. 2024, 62,402. We corrected back. We had a correction back to the downside. 2025, 62,919. We're running so far this year about 1.16% below what we did 2 years ago. We haven't fallen out of bed. We're actually running about 1.4% faster than what we did last year. It feels different though. I know it feels different. And I'm not saying I can't get down into zip codes. I can already tell you that. I can't get into zip codes. It's good enough that we've got for DFW. And that's what I'm going to focus on. But I can tell you across the Metroplex, we're running about where we have for the last couple of years as far as sales. This is a seasonal index. Seasonal index shows you how sales typically move throughout the year. Taking data going back to 1990, January is your slowest time of the year. That's whenever you need to take off. You talk about taking personal time. Taking January, that's the slowest time of the year. In fact, you're about 35% slower than what you will be on average for the whole year. January slow. We start to pick up with our spring market. Typically, we peak out in terms of number of sales per month in June. Then we start to pull back. Usually, we hit a bottom in November, and then we head up into the holidays, Christmas, and then we start this cycle again and again and again. This is going back to 1990. Some years is more elongated. Some years are more squished, but this is the shape that we can usually expect to see sales move. This is what we've done for the last 3 years. Well, I'll tell you what, 2023 was just classic. We started out, January was our slowest time. We peaked in May, not June. Darn, I missed it by a month. Then we started pulling back and we bounced to November. That's what we usually see. The red line is 2024. We peaked in May again. Okay. I mean, May or June being a peak is not that big of a surprise. We started pulling back and look, September to October, there was something strange that went on. We got a bounce. For some reason, we did something atypical from September to October, more sales from September to October. I wonder what could have happened. Oh, September the 18th, 2024, the Fed cut rates for the first time. There's your reaction. There's your reaction to, oh my gosh, the Fed cut rates. The Fed cut rates, but I hate to tell you, mortgage rates are not closely tied to your Fed rates. And I'm going to actually prove that in a little bit. But this is what happened. We saw Fed cut rates. We saw the bounce to the upside, and then we started back down. That's normal. Normal activity is to fall until November, and then we got a pretty big response to the upside from November to December. Why? The Fed cut rates again in December. They also cut them in October. So we got 3 cuts in there. Right now, we're tracking. Look how close we are in the last 3 years. Month over month, we set another high in May, and we're starting to fall off. If you're thinking, boy, it's getting slow, it's supposed to get slow. It's the time of year that it gets slower. We're tracking normally in terms of number of sales. Sales are running only slightly behind 2023, slightly ahead of 2024. Last September to December, the Fed cutting rates. everyone got excited. And what I think is so funny with consumers is they hear on the news, the Fed cut rates. And those that were in the background waiting and saying, we're not going to make a move until the Fed cuts rates. We can't afford it right now. They hear it on the news, the Fed cut rates, and then all of a sudden they start calling. We want to go look. And what I think is so fascinating with human behavior is as soon as they call you and said, now's the time, they don't think to call in and say, what are rates actually, what did they actually do? At that point that they make the phone call to you, it is an emotional purchase, unless they're buying rental houses. But it is an emotional purchase whenever they call you. And now suddenly it's about wood floors, and do we do pre-existing or do we do a new build? Do we want granite countertops? Do we want to fix her up? It's no longer a financial decision. It is an emotional decision. I find that fascinating how we move. Mortgage rates follow the 10-year treasury. And I'm going to prove that to you. I pulled the mortgage rates, historical mortgage rates, and I also pulled the Federal Reserve's federal funds rate, and I matched them up to see, are they correlated? They move together. And I also pulled the 10-year treasury. This is your Federal Reserve's federal funds rate since 2024. That's how it has moved. This is your mortgage rates. 24.48% correlation, means 24.48% of the time they move together. Not that strong. So whenever you see the Fed cut rates, it's not following it. The next slide is your 10-year treasury and your mortgage rate.
Wow.
There's your 10-year treasury. There's your mortgage rate. 98.67% correlation means 98% of the time, the 10-year treasury is explaining your mortgage rate. You want to know what mortgage rates are going to do? Tell me what the 10-year treasury is going to do.
What affects it?
You and I can go out and we can buy bonds. If we expect the stock market's going to take a hit, you and I can pull money out of the stock market, we can put it in savings, or we can buy bonds a little bit more secure. If we expect a recession's on the horizon, we can pull money out of accounts and put it into more secure bonds. If a foreign country, that's one way that they can buy our debt. You know, you hear, well, China's financed our debt. China, we owe so much to China. China's bought our bonds. That's how if we buy bonds, my granddad did it whenever I was young. From 70 to 75, he bought bonds every year for Christmas. He was buying government debt. So we're financing it and the government will pay us back later. So it's a whole mix of economic concerns that's going to drive that 10-year bond rate. I can tell you, I'm a little bit worried about a recession. So with my own retirement account, about 4 months ago, right or wrong, I pulled a lot of my money out of mutual funds and I put them into bonds because I want stable growth. I'm saying I'm too far along now in my career. I'm a little bit worried, and I've been preaching that I'm worried. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to walk the walk. I talk the talk. So I'm more secure. May not be the blow up, great to the upside potential, but it's more steady growth.
What's the rate of return bonds? I don't know.
Right now, you're sitting about 4 point.
That is.
This is the 10-year, 4.2.
The mortgage rate.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, you've got a cost. This is a cost of doing business right here. The Federal Reserve's federal funds rate is what a bank can borrow money from the Fed overnight. That's it. Somewhat tied, but this is where your tie is. You tell me what's 10-year? 98% of the moves are explained by the 10-year treasury. So don't get excited. You know, this morning, everybody was saying, you know, the Federal Reserve's 17-year economist was there. And they were saying, you know, when are you going to drop rates? And I'm going, it doesn't matter. What the Fed does not matter as much. What's the 10-year treasury going to do? Because banks, whenever a bank lends you money, They're gonna get a collection of all these loans and they're gonna go out and they're gonna hedge that risk with 10-year treasuries in the store so that they pass the risk off onto someone else. They're trying to pass that risk off to someone else. So they use the treasuries to do that. Watch your treasuries, tell me what they are, and I'll tell you, this is what you're looking at for mortgage rates.
So consistently about 4%.
Not
They're like maternal twins.
Not really. This goes back to January of 2024. This is your 10-year treasury. Here's where the Fed met. The 10-year treasury had been telling us all along. They had been tanking. They had gone from 4.65 all the way down to below 3.7 from mid-May or early May till September. They had been telling us all along. The 10-year treasury had been saying, and mortgage rates have been coming down. The Fed doesn't necessarily look at investment like this. They're concerned about employment, full employment, and inflation. That's it. Pumping money into the economy or pulling money out. Sometimes they'll be late to the game. They were. They were telling you, take out mortgages from the peak in May all the way down. That's where we're at right now. About midway. And it's kind of a little bit sideways from where we have been, but they were telling you right here in February, don't take out a mortgage. But then they started dropping. So keep that in mind. Rates were higher in February. I say perfect timing for me if I'm a buyer. I would love that scenario. Give me 10% mortgage rates in January or February. I would love that. And I'll show you why. I'll show you why in a second. You want to know what mortgage rates are doing? Watch the 10-year treasury. That's the thing. That just beat that into your clients.
Going to do.
Yep. What are they going to do? Now we can tell trends. I mean, look at that trend. They were falling for 3 months. They were saying, I would rather buy here. I would rather buy here. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
It is. It is opposite. It's backwards. It's counterintuitive. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is, but I'll tell you why. And you've probably heard it before. You've got a copy of all these slides, so you can feel free to share. They're good for today.
Copyright laws.
They're good for today until noon.
Yeah.
I mean, because we could walk out of here and the entire economy could be completely different.
Stays the same though.
What's that? The philosophy stays the same, absolutely. Home listings. Oh my gosh, look, they're up 35,406 in September alone. Oh my gosh, they're so much higher. We are running right now 61.77% more listings than in 2023 and 18% more listings than last year. Listings are through the roof. Yeah, they are. Look at the graphic of it. Boy, 2025 up here, way up here. Some things that I want to point out. Normally listings do build throughout the year and they usually top out about October, November and then start heading down.
July.
And now they're starting to head down. That's not normal. That is not normal. Listings are starting to come down. I also want to point out, yes, we haven't seen this many listings since July 2011. Oh my gosh. You know, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. Absolutely, you're right. 2011, we haven't seen this many listings. But back in 2011, I think that this presentation ought to be, yeah, but. Sure, that's true. But 2011 population DFW is 6.5 million. That's 179.79 listings per person. There's 8.3 million people in DFW. That's as of 2024. 235.7 people per listing. We have more people to absorb those listings today better than we did in 2011.
So that's
So, yeah.
equal distribution.
So, yeah, but
Yeah.
give me two numbers and tell me what you want me to say.
But in 2011, like just here in general, I wasn't here. What was the new build situation?
We're getting to the new builds.
Okay.
We're getting there. Yeah, that one's screwed up. Absolutely.
But that's still part of your total listing, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So you kind of went, what? Give me two numbers. Tell me what you want me to say, and I'll be able to find a way to say it. I'll manipulate the numbers however I need to. I can tell you anything you want to say. Case in point, 2021, a news article came out and said months of inventory, they've doubled, 100% increase in a month. In 1 month, the months of inventory went up 100%.
2021.
Yeah, and they went, oh no. Yeah, but they went from 0.8 months to 1.6 months.
Oh, they
Yeah.
adjusted.
Come on. Yes, that is 100% increase. Shot news sales. If I want to sell news, I come up with something. Oh no, I can't believe it. Don't believe everything that you read. Yeah, listings are up. They're the highest we've seen since 2011. Population's a lot higher too. We can absorb that number better today than we could in 2011.
But.
No, I'm saying this is the this is the but.
Okay.
Now, yeah, but sure, there's people that bought, and we're going to talk about consumers that bought and feel stuck now because they got such a low rate. Months of inventory, 4.5 months in September. That's nearly 11% higher than last year, and it's 54% higher than just 2 years ago.
So the top, I'm sorry, the 4.5.
Is this year. That's September of 2025.
Months of inventory.
Months of
Okay,
inventory.
gotcha.
That's last year, months of
Okay.
inventory. In September, that's the year before. Yeah, months of inventory is increasing. Absolutely it is. There's your graphic there. We turned lower earlier.
Mm.
That's not normal. That's not normal. We usually see us months of inventory builds and builds and builds, and then it's September before we start turning. We turned again in July. We turned lower. So does that mean that sellers are just pulling their houses off the market? Maybe. You know, we had it listed, now no movement, so we just jerk it up. Yeah, y'all seen that. Be careful what you read. You know, 4.5 months. Oh no, it's so much higher than it was 2 years ago. You realize if you're comparing something to 2 years ago, you're still in the COVID time period.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, look at what was happening during COVID. We wanted two things: real estate and toilet paper. And it was a frenzy on both. I saw it was a brilliant ad. A car dealership in Wichita Falls. You buy four rolls of toilet paper for $50,000, they'll give you a free truck. You know, I mean, that was what we were in. It was crazy. It was insane. Don't compare it now to what was happening back then. 4.5 months, you know, the magic number is 6 months of inventory is a stable market. I question that. I say BS on that. Is it 6 months for every single market? No, probably not. You know, you look at Marble Falls, 6 months of inventory, and VFW 6 months, that's a stable market. No, stable market means that price is stable. And I question whether 6 months of inventory is stable. Also, what if it was 1 month last month and now it's 6 months? Is that a stable market? No, it's going nuts. So I think you got to look at other factors other than months of inventory. How stable are prices? I don't think they're that stable right now. I don't think it's a stable market. I understand 4.5 months.
Define stable,
Prices are stable.
like saying what the listing price is.
Just, you're not moving around. During COVID, it was not a stable market.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right now, prices are dropping quite a bit
Okay, all right.
from month to month, dropping more than normal.
Coral bar,
What's that?
our coral bar from this morning.
The coral, price,
And when
price
that
decreases.
starts to go the other way,
Here's your price. The average for the year, 501, 215. That's average across VFW. So far through September. Last year it was 500, 753. We got higher price this year, a little bit higher price. 514 for 2023. This one is the very first index that I created this thing about 4 years ago. This is a price index that shows you normally how prices move throughout the year. This thing is as stable can be.
So you can put that every year, we'll follow the trend, is that what you're doing?
I'm looking for this shape.
Okay.
January is your lowest price. It's going to start increasing with your spring market. This is a mathematical test that shows you, yes, your spring market does exist. And what I find so funny is next month, I'm going to be doing meetings. And in the month, particularly in January, and every real estate agent is going to be saying, do you think we're going to get a spring market? Yeah, we have every single year since 1990. That's as far as data I got goes back, monthly data for DFW. We hit our peak generally in June. Then we start to pull back. We bounce usually in October and turn higher. That's your price movement. There's only 1 year that this shape did not hold. And it was not during the 08 housing crisis. It was 2020. We had the lowest price was in January. We had a spring market that never stopped.
Yeah.
This is the strongest relationship that you can find. This is the strongest one that you're going to be able to get.
That was an anomaly. I have a question 3 slides prior. I think you were talking about, with the predictability of where it peaked and then it dropped and
What did
this
I
year.
do?
There you
The,
That
this
one,
one?
yeah. So if you were to go back beyond 2023 or past,
Yep.
will it follow the 2025?
Yes, we're generally seeing inventory builds until the fall. So we get to September, October, and
So
then starts to
even
decrease.
now that, okay.
Yeah, even now we're going, that's
Well,
an anomaly. I'm wondering if people are pulling homes off.
Yes.
That's what I think is happening too. If you're gonna take me to WinStar or to Choctaw and say, you got one bet, this is what I'm betting. January is gonna be our lowest price. So, to me, I would rather buy in January. It's gonna be the lowest price I'm gonna see all year. And I'd rather there be a 10%, 11% mortgage rate. Why on earth would I do that? Remember how slow it is in January? It's the slowest time of the year. There's no buyers out. Whenever I'm negotiating against a seller, I only want the competition to be between me and the seller. If I'm buying your house, I want it to be just me against you, not everybody else in here being a buyer. So if I can get rates up really, really high in January, there's no anybody. I've got you. I'm going to be able to get a lot of concessions out of you. Now, as soon as I close, I want rates to crater. Because here's the thing, a mortgage made up of 2 things, how much I finance and my rate. Then we got property taxes and insurance, of course, but how much I finance and my rate. I know date the rate, marry the house, right? I say you got 1 shot to lock in how much I'm going to finance. You got 30 years to lock in a rate.
Maybe 50.
Maybe 50.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Who
We're
knows?
not talking about that.
I'll be there.
Now, I understand you're going to take me out and you're going to say, but you're not going to have much selection here in January. I understand that. But I am a guy, so my mentality is a little bit different. I needed a shirt a couple of months ago. So I go to the mall, buy a shirt. What store do I go to? Whichever one has the closest parking spot. I park and my shirt is in this store. I'm not going to another store. I go into that store, show me what's available. I want that one. I'm in and out in 15 minutes, literally. That's how I shop. I can tell you back early 2000s, went through a divorce, haven't we all? And I go out and I'm going to be buying my own house after everything's done. I go out, I get with my real estate agent. We go to the first house, walk in, 20 minutes inside, walk out to the car. I said, I like it. Let's write it up. She said, you can't do that. And I said, why can't I like this house? She said, you got to see the other ones, but I like this house. She said, but you've got to look at others. I'm like, okay, but I like this one. We go to the next house. We walk in, smells like cat pee. Nope, don't want that one. We go to the third house. We pull up, and I just looked at curb appeal, and I said, I just looked at her, and she said, fine, let's go write it up. To me, I don't care. I know that inventory's low here. Show me what's available. I'm buying. Because I know if I buy here, prices are going to be higher. Or here, prices are going to be higher. Or here. Do you realize? Now, I pulled this stuff because of that little settlement, that bullshit settlement that went over at the national level. But I looked at over the last 30 years, if I buy in January and I finance it and I've got closing costs, I figured, I think $1,500 for title. Is that good? 1,700. And then I figured, I don't know, 6% round trip to get in and out of the house, what I want to pay you. If I buy a house in January, the average amount of time that it takes me until I have positive equity is 11 months. 11 months, because there's an 11.5% run between the price in January and the price in June that I'm gonna take off with. If I wait till June to buy a house, it takes me over 2.5 years to get positive equity to recover the cost of real estate agent and title, all those closing costs. I'm not buying in June. Everybody's concerned. They want equity right away. It's not equity until you cash out. You've made money on paper. That's it. I'm buying in January. In the story, because you're not going to see another lower price. Period. This is how prices have moved. For 2023, look at that. Classic. Peak in June, bounce in November. Looks classic. 2024 peaked in May. We had a horrible June. Then we rebounded. And then we started our fall. And look at that. September through December, we had a bigger bounce to the upside. Usually doesn't start September. Usually waits until November. And that was a bigger move to the upside because rates were getting cut. And everybody got excited. Mortgage rates didn't move that much, but nobody paid attention to that. Everybody got excited. And that's what I think is your emotional purchases from September through the rest of the year. This year, we set our peak in June. Oh my God, from June, this fall that we've had is a lot bigger than normal. Whenever you say it's slower, whenever you say it's tougher, yeah, it is. This is not a stable market to me. It's showing the same size. It's not collapsing, but this is not stable. This is not stability. I don't care what the months of inventory shows. That's moving faster to the downside than it should. Prices are down from the last couple of years. That drop is huge. That September 2025 rate cut probably brought some people out. I'm sure that the phone started ringing a little bit whenever they cut rates. Did they go in and talk to someone in mortgage and say, hey, rates actually went up the day that they cut rates? The mortgage rates actually went up the day that they cut rates. We're probably going to see, we got another one in October. We're probably going to see another one in December. Is what I'm guessing. So yeah, I think the Fed's going to take some off. It's not going to correlate one for one with mortgage rates. Watch that 10-year treasury. Looking at the economy, overall economy, buyers are hesitant. Y'all know that. They're sitting on the sidelines. Oh my gosh. I've even heard some of them say, I'm stuck in this house. They got that 2.75 mortgage rate and they were so happy, and now they feel like I can't move. We like change. No matter how many of us say we don't like change, we do like something fresh every now and then. So we like to move. 7 or 8 years in the house, and then we want to be out. They feel stuck. It sounded like a great idea and it was, whenever they refinanced or whenever they bought and got that really low rate. And now it's like, we can't move. We're stuck here. New home construction, as you said, through the roof. Here's a graphic. New home construction these last couple of years, anywhere from 27, 28 and a half, nearly 29, 28.6, 25, 20. They're capturing about 25 to 30% of the total market share, whereas normally, they had 15%, 15, 17%.
That's still DFW,
Yep.
not national.
Yep. No, new home construction is taking a lot. And I'm going to tell you today that if you go in as a buyer to new home construction and you don't take some representative with you that understands what's going on, you're going to get smoked. She can attest to the Mud Spuds and Kids class. You're going to get smoked bad. They're going to take you for a ride. There was a real estate agent in Austin that nearly got taken for a ride. Building for $750,000, year build. The builder told her in the beginning, you got a pit on this property, public improvement district. She said, okay, how much? Well, we don't have yours yet, but here's your neighbor, 15,000. That's normal for water, sewer, drainage, and roads. They get a week from closing. Builder starts pushing her to sign notice, pushing her hard to sign notice. Luckily, the husband said, how much is it? 85,000.
Oh.
Like, what are you talking about? They balked. Builder told them, back out. We don't mind. People from California move in here day after day. They'll gladly pay it. Probably pay it off day one. But the $67,000 you put down, we're not giving you that back. They get home. She calls. I can hear the husband in the background. He's still mad. I mean, he's yelling. And she said, is it true we don't get our money back? I sent her the property tax code. You do get your money back. They backed out. They got their money back. And now they're back to square one. They got to start the build process over. How many of those buyers that you know of that'll go in today to a builder, go in and just, oh, we love this. Look at the free wood floors and look at the free sunroom. But then they get something like that pit notice thrown in front of them and they just sign it. There's no info on that pit notice that tells you how much it is. Buyers are going to get stuck. If you go into a new build and you don't take a real estate agent that knows what they're doing, you're asking to get smoked. I'll get off the soapbox there preaching to the choir. Inflation, September is 3.02%. It was 2.94% last month, 2.43 last year. Inflation's going up. That is inflation is just the increase in price of all goods and services. Now, the Federal Reserve likes to look at core inflation because it wants to take out those factors that are highly variable, which are food and fuel. They remove those and say, what is core inflation doing? Core inflation, 3.03%. The Fed normally wants inflation between 2 and 4. That's steady growth. Anything above 4 is inflation's getting a little bit out of control, like we saw during the pandemic. Anything below 2, well, the economy's slowing down too much. We need to speed it up. 3.03 is right in the midpoint. It was 3.11% last month, 3.29% last year. It's moving in the right direction. The Fed has stated for a long time they want 2%. Why? Why do you want it on the lowest end of growth? I think they're trying to average out what happened during COVID. They're trying to average it out so that long term, if you add enough 2s in there, that average is going to fall between 2 and 4% for long term. That's what I think they're doing. I think that inflation's becoming less of a concern. They're not talking about it as much. And they've got 2 mandates. You keep stable prices. That means you keep inflation in check. And you keep full employment. Those 2 usually work opposite of each other. I don't think they're worried about inflation anymore. I think they're worried right here. August unemployment was 4.3%. high since 2021. We haven't had unemployment numbers since the government shut down in October, and the Fed this morning said, we don't know when we're gonna get,
Take some.
because this is unprecedented. We've got to get the data. I kind of went, bullshit, because you know what? Y'all get data. Y'all got other data that you can get, but I didn't press her on that. I just kind of went like that. She's looking at me like, don't say anything. Here. I think that they're worried here. I think that's why the Fed dropped rates,
To entice the public.
to try and pick up on people hiring. I think unemployment's becoming a scare. Continued weakness, I think we get more cuts. I want to show you a graphic here. This goes all the way back to the early 90s, well, actually in the 40s. This is your unemployment rate throughout the years. It looks like a roller coaster, up and down and up and down, and the spike right there in COVID, which is fake. But I mean, it's weird. We shut down the whole economy. We shut down the whole world. But look at what happens here. Unemployment goes up, comes down, reaches a bottom, turns higher. Those gray bars, those are recessions. We bottomed out, recession followed. We bottomed out, recession followed. We bottomed out unemployment, recession followed. Recession followed. Recession followed. Followed. There's the big one, followed. That one, let's forget about that one. My question to you is unemployment rising? I asked her point blank this morning. I tried to disguise what I was trying to ask. I said, okay, you told us businesses are worried about demand, number one, and inflation, number two. And I said, okay, you've shown us what businesses are worried about. You've been working as an economist with the Fed for 17 years. I want your own personal opinion. In the 17 years, using the 17 years of experience, are you more worried about unemployment or inflation? And she knew I had held back on every other question. And that one is she laughed, because if you're more worried about inflation, you're going to raise rates. If you're more worried about unemployment, you're going to drop rates. She knew I was asking her, in your opinion, what's the future of monetary policy with the Fed? And she went, crap. I mean, she said, that's the big question. And she said, I can't answer it for the whole Fed. I said, I'm not asking you for the whole Fed. I'm talking about you sitting at your desk with 17 years of experience. Do you think the Fed is more worried about inflation or unemployment? It's one or the other. She started talking about demand and, demand weakening. She's giving the political answer. And at the end of about a 3-minute talk, I said, sounds like you're saying you're worried about unemployment. And she said, yeah, I am. I'm more worried about unemployment. If that's 17-year economist at the Dallas Fed, if that's her worry, I'm gonna take it that she got a little bit of a gut instinct. Yeah, I think the Fed's gonna start dropping rates, because I think the Fed's worried about keeping us out of recession. And I asked her, I said, my follow-up question was, you said the word recession 3 times, and you talked about demand 4 times, weakness in demand. Do you think a recession's on the horizon? And she said, I think we're teetering. I did too. And I said, I agree with everything you're saying. Just from, we're in the middle of a room with a bunch of people. If we were at a bar, I'd over a drink, I'd say, I think we're going into a recession. And that's pretty much, she said, we're teetering. I think we are. I think the Fed's trying to keep us out of a recession. But at the same time, if they drop rates, we're going to start spending more. That's going to drive inflation up. They got to be careful. We got to be careful. But honestly, fine, raise rates, drop rates, doesn't make a damn. I'm worried about the 10-year treasury. I am worried about a recession. What happens during a recession? Consumers stop spending money. Consumers lose their jobs. We're already seeing that. And the Fed drops rates.
Is it just me? There's not a gray bar after that last line.
After this one,
Not yet.
that one,
That one.
not yet. A recession is 2 consecutive quarters where gross domestic product, the value of everything that we produce, it's still positive, but it's not as high as it was the quarter before. We had one of those quarters this year. We didn't have 2 in a row. It's not a defined recession. The earliest that we can get one will be after the first quarter
Right,
of
April.
2026. That's the earliest that we can get one.
From this point, because you have to have the fourth quarter and the first quarter.
Yep.
Both be made.
And, okay. I'll say it after we turn off the,
They're gonna be recorded. I have a question.
yes,
So could you actually, the slide that you showed prior, can you, if you were to get a slice of, let's just say 2010, you actually extrapolate what you've been showing us on top of it and say, this is what happened? I know you don't have the slide and the data for it. With the recession in 2008,
that one?
you know, with the rise and fall of, you know, housing and all that, is it,
Oh, yeah. I mean, you
is it
can,
predictably?
and I can tell you that during a recession, yeah, mortgage rates tend to come down. Now, you see some that are saying, well, during a recession, we're gonna put our money into hard assets like our real property, like a home. Some are saying we're gonna pull it out and we gotta be careful. It's really weird time during a recession. Demand does come down. And that regulates prices ultimately.
So it'll force price correction.
In a way.
Yeah.
And some lenders are saying we need a recession to reset.
And I agree.
I think one's coming. I've been calling for one since last October. I think we've been on the edge. And I've been saying it last October. I said, I don't care who wins, who's in the White House. I think we're on the edge. And it's not going to be one side or the other's fault. It's a cycle. This economy is a living and breathing animal that is in and it's out, and it's in and it's out. If you take away COVID and connect the dots between unemployment, we're about the same as we were before COVID. I think unemployment's rising. Congressional Budget Office is putting it at 4.6% by December. I think that, yeah, we could go there. And that data is going to come out. It's going to spook a lot of people. I just know it is.
But do you agree
We're not
that,
going to have data for 2 months. It's good. There's going to be a shock.
right, but do you agree though with that anomaly, the spike, you know, that weird spike? I mean, it would have to be evenly distributed over time with the price increase, right? So therefore it has to price correct.
I'm saying that if we take out this recession,
Yeah.
because
I mean,
this
it'll
was
still
weird,
connect, yes.
that is a long time period that we hadn't had a
So
recession.
we're due for one.
Look at that. Look at that time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Look at that time period. We haven't never had us not be in a recession for that long.
Like two.
We're due. You know, hitters come to the plate. He hadn't hit 200 at bats. Well, he's due. You know, it's time.
Statistically.
Statistically, you know what's going to happen. We flipped a coin and landed on tails 17 times in a row. Well, we're due.
So basically COVID kind of.
COVID messed
evaded it.
everything up. It messed everything up. Here's a big problem, price to income ratio. Affordability is one of the major issues in DFW. The Fed talked about this morning as well. This is the national average in the black. The orange is DFW. We're more expensive than the national average. That doesn't attract businesses. Here is home ownership cost as a percent of median income. We're way above the national average. That's going to slow us down. You tell me what gross domestic product is going to be in DFW, the value of everything we produce next year. I'm going to get really, really close to what the average price will be for homes, because those two are highly correlated. Highly, highly correlated. We're out of whack in terms of home ownership costs. That does not go a long way towards attracting businesses.
So what is Austin doing with that?
Austin's gunning for us. Austin, as far as growth, Austin, according to the Fed this morning, Austin's job growth is not as great as Fort Worth, but it's greater than Dallas. Dallas was like at 0.2%. Fort Worth is like 0.7% on job growth. Austin's in between the two. Austin's also building some stuff that modular home. It's affordable.
Yeah.
And they have those little tiny home communities are getting really popular.
Yeah. They're splitting up lots. They're splitting lots in half, and those homes are going for $500,000.
Well, I meant more Austin as the state of Texas, where the government, where are they doing it about correcting that?
There's not a lot. There's not a lot.
They're not talking about property taxes.
No. It's not a lot that you can do. It's supply and demand, and we've got way too much demand around. It is run prices to the upside. My forecast, I'm going to assume that the unemployment continues to rise in 2026. To be conservative, I'm going to say a recession begins in 2026. How much does gross domestic product, the value of everything we produce here in DFW, how much do I think it drops? I think anywhere from a drop of 0.14% to a high of 7.56%. How did I come up with those numbers? That's the softest and the shallowest recession that we've had since 1950. That's what it took off GDP here in DFW. And that's the 2007 Great Recession. It took 7.56% off. So I think it's going to be somewhere between that. And on average, 2.35% of all the recessions that we've had. I'm building in a cushion. So yes, I'm going to give you a number. I think that price drops another 2.77% this year. We come in at 481, 237. There is an opportunity on the high side if a recession hits and it's real shallow, that we see it nearly a 1% increase in price over 2025. Worst case scenario, we drop nearly 5%. Average price for the whole year. Now, how are prices going to move throughout the year? We're going to apply that trend. I think that we hit a high in June somewhere between 494, 244, and 524, nearly 525.
What's our average now, like 501?
Mm-hmm. The peak in 2025 was in June at 528. Yeah, best case scenario, I think we're about $4,000 under the peak. Okay. Worst case scenario, a little bit worse. What about $34,000 under the peak? So about 4 to 5% drop, or potentially a 1% increase, depending on how deep that recession is. If we get one, I would rather plan for a recession and not get it than not plan for one. Oh my gosh, we're in one. What do we do now?
So that's your predictable draft, basically.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, on average, again, nearly a 3% drop in prices. Sales, I think somewhere coming in on average about a 4.25% drop. So what I'm telling you there, talk to 7% more people next year. If prices are going to be down 3%, and if sales are going to be down 4.25%, talk to 7% more people. You got this. This housing market is unbelievably stable. We are insulated from outside. We really and truly are. I can make a case, best case scenario, recession's real shallow, a 1% increase in sales, or anywhere down to a 7.5% drop. This one highly variable. I think that still we get between 86 and 9,400 homes sold in the month of June alone. Last year it was at 91, so it was right in here in the month of May. So it's right in the same ballpark as what we've seen over the last couple of years. Looking at both prices, I think both price and sales are going to correct. They're not going to collapse. Correct. Prices down slightly, sales down a little bit more. Again, top 7-8% more people next year. You're gonna be okay. This is not an easy game. You hear about a lot of real estate agents that are exiting the industry. They already exited. It's just that their license are expiring. Your license is good for 2 years. They got in and saw, oh, this takes work. I don't want to do this. I'm out. And so they got out immediately. So, they've been gone. It's just officially now they're gone. We can declare them dead.
Dead soldier.
Yeah. But they went missing a long time ago. They never were in the market. Affordability, I think that's the major issue. Affordability, that's the major issue. This is not a typo. Affordability is key to attracting new business. We got to get that under control. That may mean, yes, expansion, maybe more new builds. That may be an upside to all these new builds, because affordability means we need inventory so that we can get you and me that own a home that's trying to sell it. We're competing with builders right now. And a builder right now, they can take a little bit more of a hit than what I'm willing to, because guess what? If I sell it, that's every bit of money that I take out of it, that's what I'm using as equity. They take a hit, it's like, we just want out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We started the neighborhood, they want to be out in 1.5 to 2 years. They want to be done out of here because they want to go on to the next one. They can take a hit because they're dealing in volume. We're dealing in, this is all I got. This is it. So yeah, anybody selling their home today, they're competing with builders. They're gonna have to come down. You're in the big leagues right now. You're gonna have to protect the plate. I'll be happy to open up any questions y'all may.
First of all, wow,
Yeah.
right?
Well, thank you very much.
No, that's so brilliant the way that you framed it.
Well,
But questions, please.
Did that like fill your cup?
Oh my God.
For me, I can only imagine. That was like pretty little.
You're gonna go home and be like, I need a cigarette.
They know my data brain, and that was like right up my alley.
damn.
He's not very like polite.
Wow.
Okay, so my question, because is there a resource, like the 10-year treasury, you say follow it, follow it, follow it. Is there a favorite 10-year treasury website
How to follow it?
resource that you prefer to
You
look
know-
at or that's friendly?
My info that I pull, I'm all over the board. And what I used to favor, now I don't listen to because I can't trust it.
Okay.
You gotta be careful. Read it all, come down into the middle, talk to your lenders. Your lenders are gonna be the ones that are gonna tell you. Because the lenders try and get ahead of it and they try and build in rate cuts. They try and build in what's gonna happen ahead of time. And they're competing with each other. Now they're following the 10-year treasury. Some of them will be more aggressive. Some of them will be a little bit more conservative. Just like every business. Your lenders, that's why a good relationship with your lender and even having them in here once a month. Different lenders coming in here once a month and talking about this is where we see rates. This is what we feel. This is what we're doing. Here's how we're positioning ourselves. And knowing it's tied to that 10-year treasury.
Kristen, come on, speaker.
Yeah, so I know this is kind of like more not on the economy, but something you said earlier kind of stuck with me. When it comes to new builds and you saying that making sure that realtors are on top of all the information when it comes to taxes and PID and stuff like that, can you elaborate on why or how to make sure that we're taking care of our clients? Because I know that I think it was the PID tax situation that you mentioned, right?
Yes, yes. Real estate agents need to know what exists, what potentially can exist, because a PID can pop up. It's easy to get them.
Right.
It's easy to get them approved. Just knowing what questions to ask and what they are, and then digging deeper, because they will not. They're gonna slap a notice down in front of us, and we're not gonna realize what it is that we're signing, and then we're stuck. And some of these PIDs can get very, very expensive. I can
So
tell
if
you
one is
the-
already in, if one is already, they're saying, hey, this exists. And
Yes.
I'm making sure that they're incorporating that already into the loan and all that good stuff. Could that potentially change or pivot from the one that's already established if it's new?
Kids, once they're set, they're set. What I see happening like down in Austin is, from what I understand, the builder got sued because they weren't providing notice. And so they built in the judgment into what everybody else is gonna pay for the kids. So they had that, the rest of the buyers, you're gonna pay that judgment. It's a 2-hour class is what I can say. Buzz and kids. Buzz and kids. It's a 2-hour class. I can say, knowing what questions to ask, if you want to, talk to Dawn and she,
It's a good,
she's already taken off. But absolutely we can, yes.
I learned so much from class meeting. I was like,
We
okay.
can do that next spring.
Yeah, and but we worked on how to identify them, but then how do you find notice? And what's in that notice and what other questions do you need to ask?
Kristen, I just sent you a link from how to find notice on kids. That's a start.
Yeah, because I know like one, Penny, it's a flat fee, like they're charging them per year, like $1,700.
Coming around.
Okay.
Is that-
Round
I
stuff.
mean, I just,
Right.
and then like my one in Boyd, make sure. what
Is it a
it's built in-
rate per
Are you talking about
$100
South Hill
value?
Springs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's built into the rate,
It's built into the tax rate.
yeah.
Yep,
property tax.
That's for water, sewer, drainage and roads.
Yeah,
and
but then my
garbage.
one in McKinney is just a flat fee, it's due in September every year, it's like 17.
That's like
It's a per, yeah, 100 or whatever.
Yep, exactly right. Some of them are used for infrastructure, some are used for beautification and security. We want additional police protection in the neighborhood and we want to put up lights and we want, a fountain up front. We can choose to put that assessment on ourselves. The stockyards is in a PID. It only charges for the businesses over there. It's been around since 2002 or 3, I think. I think they charge 7 cents per $100 of value just for the businesses. It funds additional police, bus stops, bus stop cleaning, street cleaning, district promotion. And there's a big difference in the stockyards today versus like
When they-
1990s. 1990s, you didn't park far away. I mean, it's like, sketchy. Now you can crawl all over that, literally crawl, and you're gonna be safe.
So I'm going to the builders.
Roundup?
Yeah, roundup. So what would be? So, the last time I went, I would always ask the builders, what are they doing about affordability? Because it's been an issue, of course, and that's. So what would be kind of not a gotcha question, but more of an engaging question, because, build is a build, so.
If I'm going over there, I'm going over there too.
Oh,
After we get
we're all
done.
going over there.
Yeah, we're all, we're just gonna caravan over. I'm not gonna ask them anything today. The sales agents, they're not in a position to tell you.
But the small builders, sometimes the builders.
Some of them will, some of them will. I wanna know, are all fees up front? I don't want it to be Spirit Airlines. That's what I think that real estate is to me. Yeah, okay, I bought a seat. Oh, you wanna take it back? That's extra $50. You wanna pick your seat? Oh, that's 200. You wanna pick when you get to board? Well, that's an extra.
Yeah.
$50. No, I wanna know everything. I feel like it is my right to know
Right.
everything about this property I'm gonna buy. It's the most expensive thing I'm ever gonna buy in my life.
Everyone, hey,
Thanks, Blake.
What were you gonna say off record? We want to know.
We're still
let
recording.
me close out the meeting. Everybody, thanks to John and Radigan Title #1 for providing this great and
That sounds like.
wonderful craft class for Bennett.
Just stop,
Thank you,
just
guys.
stop recording. I want to hear too. Just stop recording, but keep the video on.
You what now?
Stop recording. but
He said he's going to do off the record. Just stop recording. I want to listen.
Well, now we're gonna take it off, so it's fine. Keep that. Madam Chair.
There's a survey.
There it is, I got it. Why did I put it on?